one of the things I would say about answering that question is often people look at the technology, and it's generally much better to turn it around and look at the people, because it's what people do or want to do or their fundamental needs that drive the technology, not the other way around. So if you understand that, for most of our civilized history, people have grown up in a village and they all know each other and they have a common currency of their understanding of the world, and then you see a world where people relocate for jobs around, to another city, that's going to get you to why you need a Facebook or why you need social media. Similarly, if you think about the Roman legal system on which our legal system is based, where everyone turns up at court and produces the evidence and then a judge opines on how the law. But now you suddenly realise that your company's got 10 terabytes, then you realise that, well, you can't throw the legal system out. So there's going to be an incredible technology situation that led to the whole sort of e-discovery and the change in the legal system. So the point I'm making is it's about what people are doing. And, you can look at all sorts of interesting things. People want to be able to solve things they can't. Well, if you get a quantum computer, you could do that, perhaps. You've got these ideas of, does currency work? And so people are thinking about Bitcoin. The more interesting things, I think, are when you come back to what do people do each day? So the number of people that take a contract and read it and edit it and negotiate it, that's not really a great value add. And that should be automated now that we have AI that can do that. And then I've got some other more specific ones, young people these days have earphones in their ears all the time. They're too loud. They're going to have hearing loss. And that's an incredibly difficult thing as you get older. Technology should be able to deal with that, and we should be able to get back to pretty perfect hearing, even if you've had hearing loss by using some of the new methods. So that's another interesting area. And then I just, because of all the things I've done and building billion-dollar companies, I'm kind of got to the point where I want to do things that are a little bit more ambitious now. I just love the idea of non-existent worlds at the moment. So, if you've ever used AR, where, we could suddenly have a goldfish walking across this table, but at the moment that would require us to have strange glasses on. Well, let's get rid of them. Let's make it like the Star Trek holodeck. Massive technical problems in doing that, but that would be amazing. Imagine that we could just make anything in this room appear to be in here that isn't in here. It'd be like Harry Potter. You'd be completely free of the laws of physics for a start. So I think that's a very exciting one. I think the ability of us to communicate is so limited by language. Now, I realise at that point every English teacher is going to have a fit, but the reality of how we see our world is incredibly subtle, complex interrelations of ideas. But when we talk, we have to use words. And words mean that we generally take what can be 100 things that have gone into an intuition and we try and reduce it to 4 or 5 ideas that we can explain in a sentence using a linguistic construct. What if we could communicate with our machines directly without having to go through language, so that they actually get to be working with us at the level that we actually work, which is this much more intuitive level. And I should just explain that. When you ask someone why they made a decision, we've all been trained in the Western world to give, because we all went to school and had to write essays, a reason why we made a decision. But there are many experiments you can do with even quite simple things like how fast you drive a car around a curve that show that the explanation we give bears no relation to what we actually did. We thought about it a different way, and then we were constrained by language to explain. Well, imagine if you could take that out and you could be, the machine could be getting everything that you understand about what's going on when you communicate with it. It would be a very different world, and we could do much cleverer things. So I think these idea of mind-machine interfaces are really interesting. Again, massive technical problems, but a very exciting new area to be thinking about. And technology is moving at an amazing rate. And then this whole area in in biology around not so much genetics, but related to genetics. So, the reason why when Darktrace did its idea, we came up with the immune system, was I had a very strange education because of the Cambridge Tripos system. I had to study advanced physics and I did biochemistry as well. Not many people did that mix. But, so when we came to Darktrace, I was thinking about how do we explain this? Well, it's like an immune system, so that was fine. But coming back to the idea of genetics, you start to think about what epigenetics. So epigenetics is not what's in the DNA in terms of what you inherited. It's how the DNA is modified in your life. So, for example, if your grandmother lived through a famine, your DNA is the same, but the controlling mechanism, what's called epigenetics around it, is changed by her experience. And that's fascinating. And then you've also got this whole idea of what are called non-coding parts of genetic information. So people thought that genetic information was about producing proteins, but it turns out there's whole bits that do other things. So there is a whole world opening up there of things that weren't even conceived of 20 years ago.